So I'm out to dinner last night, and right before anybody even took a bite of their food, they're salting it. Everybody around the table. Now I'm thinking to myself, aren't we getting, I keep hearing, we get too much sodium in our diets anyway, and everybody's salting food that probably already is salted, right? And I want to know, really, what harm are we doing by adding more salt to our food?
Yeah, so you're exactly right. We only need about 2,000 milligrams of sodium a day. Maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, depending on if you've got some underlying medical conditions. The average American gets 3,500 milligrams of sodium, so a tremendous amount of sodium. And now we do need some sodium in our diet. Now sodium, by the way, salt is a mineral called sodium chloride, NaCl, so sodium chloride.
Okay.
And so it's the sodium, the mineral sodium that we actually need, and salt is how we deliver that. And we need sodium, and sodium plays a very important role in many of our bodily functions. It helps our muscles contract and relax. It helps our nerves transmit impulses. And also it helps maintain the proper balance of water and minerals in our bodies.
Okay, so then where are we finding salt in our food?
So there are some foods that actually naturally have sodium. For example, celery, one stalk of celery, and this is one of the higher naturally salted foods.
Which is something I've learned,
right.
Yeah.
But it only has like 30 milligrams in a stalk. Right?
Oh, okay.
So when you're getting sodium for food, you don't really have to worry about getting too much.
Yeah.
A major source of sodium in the Western diet is processed food, right?
Yeah.
So, here we have a cup of spicy instant ramen noodles, and you look at the ingredient list, and it doesn't look too bad. But then you go and you look at the sodium content. There's 850 milligrams in this one cup, right?
So that's nearly
over half, really, of what you need. Almost half of what you need.
Almost half of what, right?
So, just by the way, an interesting rule of thumb is we need about as many calories per day as we need milligrams of sodium. So, right? Most people get about 1,800, 2,000 milligrams of sodium. Of calories, that's what we need. That's about how many milligrams of sodium. So, if you look at the label and the calorie count, and in this case it's 200,
right,
is less than the sodium intake, in this case 850, you probably should put it back on the shelf.
Right. So what we want are the calories 1-to-1 to equal.
No more than 1-to-1.
Right. So you want it to, you want your calories to equal
or be less than the sodium.
The sodium
That's
content.
Exactly right. Now the other major source is salt, actual salt. And, one problem that I've seen is, many people when they adapt a healthier diet, we have this presumption that, say, Morton's table salt is somehow more unhealthy than these other kinds of salt. So they'll switch to like pink Himalayan salt.
That sounds fancy.
Or kosher salt. But in fact, here we have a black truffle sea salt. But guess what? It's all salt, right? And there's no difference in the sodium content, in any of these. And the thing is, 1 teaspoon of sodium has 2,300 milligrams.
No, 1 teaspoon of salt.
Salt, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Has 2,300 milligrams of sodium. That's your whole thing in 1 teaspoon. So you're exactly right. When you've already cooked a dish that has, some salt in it,
and then you're salting it again.
You're quickly over the limit just in that one meal.
Right. So now here's the thing, because there are here at the Center for Plant-Based Living, we have a lot of health-conscious people and trying to become healthier than they are currently eating, and with the talk of, don't eat too much salt, we don't want too much sodium in your diet. Some people think no salt, but here's the thing: from a culinary standpoint, I like to add a little bit of salt during the cooking process, because let's say I have a big pot of soup or stew or whatever we're making, and I add just a couple heavy pinches of salt. Now I use this finer salt or any kind of finer salt because that infiltrates the pot and it helps the flavors of the food actually bloom. There is a science behind that. So it's to create a more robust and bold flavor. I will not salt at the end, because then that's all you can taste.
Right. And the thing is, there's nothing wrong with that. Again, we need sodium, and putting a little, cooking with a little salt is perfectly fine. The problem is a little bit of salt goes a long way.
It sure does. It sure does. And there's a definite difference on a cooked meal. Okay, so now we know where to get this salt. What happens if we have too much.
Right, which most people do,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it can cause a lot of issues, right? So it can cause us to retain fluid because the salt draws fluid in, right?
Yeah.
It can cause your blood pressure to go up. There's
Okay.
clear evidence that a high sodium diet increases blood pressure. It can increase your risk for heart disease. It can create inflammation, which contributes to that. Blood pressure contributes to that. It actually, most people don't know this, but it also can leach calcium out of our bones and increase the risk for osteoporosis. It can lead to bone loss, a high salt diet over time. So there's a lot of reasons from a health standpoint not to overdo it with the salt.
Yeah, clearly. Okay, so tell you what, I have a couple of favorite snacks, but one that I find myself eating a lot of is popcorn.
Right.
So let me show you how I like to flavor up popcorn with hardly adding any salt at all.
Wow, I can't wait to try that.
I know,
That's
let's do it.
amazing.
I love this little contraption. Isn't it so cute, this little kettle?
It is.
Okay, this is how you pop popcorn without using any oil at all. And we're going to be using this small batch popcorn. It's a company in the Midwest, a family company in the Midwest.
Right.
And so thank you, Black Jewel. And we are going to just put, there's a little divot here on the top of this lid, as you can see, and it measures out to about 2 tablespoons. We're just going to put the kernels right in there. There's a little
This
line.
is how you measure it, right?
That's how you measure it, yep. So, I'll just tighten that back up. So you have your kernels right there on top. Dump it right into the kettle, and then this goes into the microwave.
You're kidding me.
No, I know.
That's all. There's no oil. There's no butter.
No.
Unbelievable.
Nothing. So let's pop that into the microwave, bring it back, and I will show you how to dress up the popcorn using very minimal amounts of salt.
Oh, that's amazing. I can't wait.
I know. Okay, you ready to dive in? Popcorn is ready. And by the way, you can find this on our Amazon store.
So wait, I have a question.
Yeah.
I understand the popcorn. This looks amazing. But what's up with the pickles and the spray bottle?
I know. It's my secret.
Oh, I see.
Yep.
So you're going to put some pickle juice on there.
Yeah, because we don't have any butter and we don't have any oil, so we need to find a way for the ingredient or the seasonings to stick.
Well, I have a question. Doesn't pickle juice have a fair amount of sodium?
You would think so, but you'd be wrong. Like a cup is 800 milligrams. I mean,
So how much are you going to spray on there?
well, you don't want any soggy popcorn, do you?
Well, no.
So not a whole lot.
So maybe a quarter teaspoon?
Well, so
Maybe it's a half teaspoon? Wait, let me do the math. So 1 carry the 3, whatever. What? So half a teaspoon, you're talking maybe 8 milligrams of sodium?
oh yeah, not
in that,
not
right?
much,
Holy
not much.
cow.
I mean, there's probably more in a pickle than
Right.
more than we're going to spray on
Okay.
this.
Let's do
so
it.
just real soft. Get in there, toss it around. You can hear it.
How do you do it?
And then we're going to add in, this is nutritional yeast,
Yeah.
so it's a deactivated yeast that tastes very cheesy, so we're going to have some cheesy popcorn.
I
And
know
we're
some
just,
people make like a Parmesan out of it, and,
Yeah.
and it gives it that kind of umami taste, right?
Right.
That cheesy flavor.
That's
Yeah,
right.
That's brilliant.
and then garlic, because we like garlic,
Right,
right?
right.
Yeah.
But you could really put anything on
Anything.
it, right?
If you wanna put your-
pepper, cumin, Indian, I mean, you could
bet.
do anything, right?
Absolutely anything. We're just
Curry
using
powder.
this. Well, and this also adds flavor.
Right. Sure.
So you have that dill dill pickle salt
Yeah.
undertone,
Oh, wow.
and then you have your seasonings of choice on top of that.
All right.
And now we can dig it.
Time to
Okay. Okay. All right.
All right, can I try?
Yes, let's go.
All right. Oh, wow.
I know.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
good.
really amazing. Wow.
All right, let's cue up a movie and go.